Hello, my name is Sonali Agle, and welcome to my thesis, Symphony of Colors. The importance of color in our everyday lives cannot be understated. Color plays a pivotal role in various aspects of human perception, communication, experience, and cultural expression. Color is one of the constants of our lives. We learn, work, live, and sometimes even dream in color. This in turn raises the question, is color accessible to everyone? As a visual designer, I have always harnessed the power of color while communicating my messages and delivering design solutions. I believe user experience is considered successful when it is inclusive and enjoyed by all. This is what I want to focus on with my thesis project and bring light to the subject of color inclusivity. My big idea. Human perception of color is subjective. It can be experienced together through a multidisciplinary approach, combining knowledge from different fields and influences that shape our perception and experience of color. Symphony of Colors will also explore synesthesia, a neurological condition in which things experienced through one sense produce a sensation in another. During my research, I came across a quote that really stuck by me. It was by Joseph Albers, and it said, every perception of color is an illusion. We do not see colors as they really are. In our perception, they alter one another. And this is the founding principle on which I based and built my design experience, Symphony of Colors, which is a multisensory experience and takes you through a journey of perceiving colors through various immersive approaches. It defines how color can be subjective and can be experienced not only through visual cues, but through our different senses. My client for this experience is Pantone. We, as designers, know how important Pantone is in our field of design, as they provide a universal language of color. And I felt it could be the right opportunity to create a brand awareness around Pantone and introduce them to the locals with the aim of inspiring them. We will also be in collaboration with Apple Music. Apple as a brand itself stands with many causes, and this would help us to explore synesthesia with music through Apple Music. This would also be a great platform to bring together two big brands like Pantone and Apple Music and use the power of design and music in order to stand for a cause and create an educative yet entertaining experience for all. My location for this experience is Bryant Park. I felt it was perfect because it is located in the heart of Manhattan, making it easily accessible to both locals and tourists. This would also be set in the spring of 2024, from 1st to 9th of June. My main targeted audiences are creatives, Apple Music users, and students. The secondary audiences would be tourists and locals who are already in and around the park. Tertiary would be people with synesthesia. The project goals will focus more on creative, color inclusive experiences and highlighting the phenomenon of synesthesia. Through the educational goals, visitors will learn about how to use color as an effective tool of communication, learn what is synesthesia, and about the Pantone color system. The experience goals, visitors will participate in multisensory immersive experiences and engage in the live concert events. Through a series of card sorting, I came up with my concept bubble diagram, which started with the most important question: what happens when you can't perceive colors? Why is color important? How does color make you feel? Properties of color, daily influence of colors, and different ways that define the way you experience color. I built my concept around these founding questions and further developed them. The content of this experience is scattered around the park intentionally because I wanted my visitors to have the opportunity to experience each and every activity at their own pace, other than confining them to a space. We start with a pre activity before the event, which sets the tone for the rest of the event. 3 days prior the main event, pre activation events will begin. Pantone and Apple Music will start with their social media activations by posting a series of stories and promotional posts, and also at the same time collaborating with the social influencers of the New York City, like the Secret Life of New York City or NYC for Free, to promote this event in order to target the audiences and call them around every Apple store of the city. On the arrival of the visitors, they would be greeted by a kiosk, which is also an extension of one of the installations and activities at the main experience. Here, visitors would be prompted with a question, asking them what is their favorite color, and relating it to the song and sending it to the next person. On completion of this activity, they'll receive a digital ticket of the event. There will also be a series of posters scattered around the city, which are more like the wear and tear kind, and which will give you out the information of the event. Anyone can come take a piece of the poster with them. Everyone likes to have a free thing, don't they? Into our main experience. We start with Don't Just Exist Live. These are whimsical dichroic tunnels which welcome the visitors through introductory graphics, and they could enter from any way in this zone. The visitors also step into the monochromatic zones of red, blue, yellow, and orange to explore and experience the emotional depth of colors. And they also learn how color influence our daily lives and sets a mood and emotions. The materials of these stone structures is dichroic with an iridescent finish, which is intentional because I wanted to highlight the concept of color being subjective, as when you see a dichroic structure, it would be of different colors from this either side of perception. And with these stone structures, you can only experience color once you are inside them. Entering the blue zone, which welcomes the visitors to a euphoric and calming experience through visual triggers. You could just lie down or experience this through screens around the dome, which is more like the Arctic House experience, for example, where you experience one color at a time. Into the red zone, which is more engaging and interactive, here you are greeted with a wall of two-way balls and you can create any artwork around it. And it is also having a fun activity where visitors are prompted to spin the wheel and win Pantone prizes, Pantone products, and merch by the event itself. Once again, in the yellow zone, you immerse yourself into the euphoric and calming experience through visual triggers. The orange zone is more like an interactive space where you would be greeted by the Pantone booth, and each of this booth will have a different color prompt to it, and you can apply any Pantone overlay on them on your pictures and get a printout of it. At the same time, there are interactive screens where you can come collaborate with different people and play games through fruit screens or game screens. This is an example of the Pantone wood photo frames. In the orange zone again, there is a wall of reflection where there would be an interactive prompt for the visitors that asks them which color makes you feel beautiful. Here they can come and take a ball and put it into the cylinder of that particular color and how it makes them feel. It is also a great way to show them how color is subjective and how people experience it differently. For example, blue would be the color that makes you feel beautiful, but it could be red, yellow, orange for someone else. This is the night view of the structures, and along the pathways, we would have the RGB lights, and which would create CMYK shadows where and a space where people can come, engage, and interact with them. The What's in a Color experience. Here, visitors will embark into the journey of experiencing colors through their other senses and devoid of any visual cues and reflect upon how do color actually makes them feel. And they would also learn about the idea of color being subjective and how colors can be used as an effective tool of communication. On entering this activity, they would be greeted by a wall of ivory ice creams, and every ice cream would be white in color, but they would have a hidden flavor into them. And each ice cream cone would have a color description to them through a first person narrative by someone who can't perceive them. For example, it would indirectly tell them what color it is, but they wouldn't really know. Like, for example, for red, it could be prompted as Jess describes this color to be the color of love and danger. And they can come select their ice cream according to the description of the color. And at the end, put it into the different cylinders of ice creams, which would also have the same prompt to them after finishing it. Uh, this is an example of the packaging for the white ice creams and their hidden flavors and their description. We would also have Pantone, resting Pantone photo ops scattered around the Bryant Park, which utilizes the park to its full potential because of the scenic beauty that it has. The white Rubik cube, which is interactive, is also an extension of the ice cream, which would have the same color descriptions to them, but instead of the generic color blocks, they would have the color descriptions to them. The what's in a color activity is also exploring a type of synesthesia where you experience color through words and a close up of the cube. They listen to colors. This experience is the main Apple experience where people will learn to experience the same color to varied genre of music and gain knowledge about chromesthesia, a type of synesthesia where you hear colors. There would be this big arches scattered around the park, and they would come up with a prompt like asking you to choose a Pantone code, a color of your choice, and relate it to a song and adding it to the playlist of that particular song. As you can see, this is the night view of the structures and the UI interaction, which goes as pick your favorite color, choose an artist, or the song that makes you feel yellow, like an example of it. And for someone, maybe let's say it's Yellow by Coldplay, and then it adds the song to that particular color coded playlist. Some memories are meant to be shared. You would be greeted by arch-shaped interactive installations, which would have multiplayer games with the community and you can interact with them. And every game will teach you about a different kind of synesthesia. For example, you would have a prompt pop up on the screen which says, what color does this word make you feel like, and it will prompt music, and you can go and select the color of your choice through these discs on the floor. And at the end of every game, you would there would be a pop-up screen that displays the kind of synesthesia you are experiencing. For example, we could have numbers on the screen and you can relate them to any color you feel a particular number to use. Like, for example, you would have two and you select blue as that blue color makes you feel like two, and you would have a pop-up on the screen defining the graphing color synesthesia where you experience number through colors. And this is an interactive approach by gamifying the concept of synesthesia and explaining it them to the audiences through an easy way. Living through Pantone. This is the house of Pantone where you learn anything and everything about the Pantone. The structure is inspired and taken from the Highmark model box. Max, this is the reason behind it is Pantone as a brand is very precise with their brand elements. And I felt the model box was the right choice for the structure as they are modular and compatible too. And as you enter the zone, you would be greeted by a cylinder that would have different shades of Pantone postcards, and you can select any postcard and customize it to your own choice and decorate them and take it away with you. We would also have interactive screen prompts, which would ask you which Pantone shade defines you. And you can select that particular shade, which would go up on the screen, and your name would be at the bottom of it instead of the Pantone shade. We would also have uh, screens that will give you information about the Pantone brand studies and how they set the coloring standards and explaining the Pantone color system to everyone. There will also be Pantone visual merchandising stalls for visitors where visitors can come and see different products offered by Pantone and come and purchase them. The art of color. This experience will enable the audiences to immerse themselves into the musical concerts, and they will learn about the relativity of colors with emotions through music. There will also be a bunch of concert musical artists who already have synesthesia, and they would be performing and invited to this event, and at the same time share their experience with the audiences. And this is how the event would look like. Creating a visual identity system for this experience was a bit of a challenge because Apple and Pantone themselves, they have such stark identity and minimal uh, brand presence to them. So I went around with creating something of its own, like which would have an importance of its own, but at the same time went with both the brands together. And the overall visual language of Symphony of Colors is vibrant and harmonious blends of gradients and stark serif logotype. The gradients are inspired by the Apple playlists covers which are already existing, and in the further design posters which you will see ahead, the main box is taken, the shape of the box is taken from the Pantone. This is an example of the event posters. Like I mentioned earlier, the box is from Pantone, gradients in them is from Apple Music, and they are black and white uh, on purpose to highlight the fact of the color being subjective and the wording them of the color experiences in order to experience color. And the main poster of this event defines the human perception of colors and where music meets colors. This is an example of the subway ads around the city, the staff uniform, and event tickets. And finally, for the post-event engagement, we would have a And finally, for the post-event engagement, we would have an app for color accessibility by Symphony of Colors and a permanent playlist on Apple Music where audiences can come and explore all these color playlists. Thank you.